What's going on, everyone? My name is Sherwin, and today we are breaking down the deal I got on the R1S dual motor Gen 2 behind me. I have a lot of stuff to go over, so I got my trusty tablet, my iPad. I got a lot of notes to go over. I have chapter markers in the video description, so if you want to skip around, go ahead. The new R1S, what I would like to have is dual motor. Performance is not that important. Large pack battery is important. Premium sound is very important because the Gen 1 is okay. I'm just used to Tesla sound system. But if I didn't get the premium sound of the Gen 2, like, I could only imagine what that's gonna be. So it's important to have the premium sound. 12,000 miles, just like the Gen 1 R1T, but I wanted 2 years instead of 3 years. I wanted to get out the lease a lot sooner. Payment to be under $1,000. So there's that little adjustments where I understand I'm gonna have to pay more because it's a more expensive car, but I would like to stay under $1,000 a month. I also do not want any down payment. If possible, this would be my opportunity to get all-terrain wheels and tires. And if possible, Ocean Coast interior, because I like the lighter interior. The colors I don't want, and that's at the bottom of the list, is LA Silver and Midnight. No offense to the owners with those colors, it's not my thing. The top colors I have is Glacier White, Red Canyon, and Forest Green. I'm going to be sharing with you a couple of trade-in values that were given to me by Rivian and one by Tesla at different time periods. So the first time I went to check the trade-in value for the Rivian R1T was December 7, 2024. Rivian offered $57,410, around 7,400 miles during that time. The current payment around that time, I think, was $68,000. So it's over $10,000 of negative equity. The following day, December 8th, Tesla offered $43,000. Ridiculous. This was laughable. And the only reason why I looked into it was this was the time that we were looking into a Cybertruck to replace the Model X, because the Model X was getting bought back. So we wanted to move things around. Abby didn't want to have 2 trucks on the driveway. So we were playing with different options. I have many videos, if you want to go check those out, that explain the whole situation. But I was curious, like, you know, what was the value of the R1T? Fast forward to May 2025. There was a few people that reached out to me and said, hey, you better go check the current Rivian deals because they're really good. And at that time, the current Rivian deals that they were offering had something to do with the performance upgrade to dual motors and max battery pack. So they had like a deal where I think it was like free. I can't remember the offer. So I went ahead and did a trade-in offer just to get the ball rolling, see what's going on. So May 9th, the truck was at 10,663 miles. The trade-in value that Rivian offered me was $58,230. The current value or the payout of the vehicle is about $63,000. So it's about $6,000 of negative equity. So it has improved, but that's because I just kept paying into the car, just kept paying my lease payment. So the difference has become closer, or my negative equity has become lower or improved because I'm making payments to it. So they reached out and said, okay, well, here's the thing we could do. We could roll in your negative equity into your new lease payment, and your new lease payment will be like $1,300. And I'm like, no, what kind of deal is that? That's not a deal. No, I don't want an R1S that bad. I love my R1T. I'm just giving you guys an opportunity to give me a deal so that I can start enjoying an R1S, so that I don't have to have two trucks. Now, don't get me wrong. I've said it plenty of times. Cybertruck and R1T is still a great like combination vehicle, even though they're both trucks. They drive very different, in my opinion. Like, I feel the Cybertruck feels more of like an SUV, where the R1T, one of the biggest reasons why I love the R1T over the Cybertruck is because it drives like a truck. That's what I'm after. I have a truck. I want it to feel like a truck. I want it to drive like a truck. I want it to look like a truck. Not that the Cybertruck is bad, but like those are the things I'm looking for. I love the Cybertruck. I love the R1T, but if you put that in front of me, I'm always gonna choose the R1T unless the boss is with me. She's gonna want me to drive the Cybertruck. It's great having both, but just looking for an opportunity if I can get an R1S. Also, I don't really need a max battery pack. So even with that deal, it's kind of like, that's not an incentive for me to trade in. Like, I don't need a max battery pack. So, and whether or not there's a deal, I love my R1T. It's not like, oh, I'm stuck with the R1T. No, you have to give me a compelling deal to get me out of this R1T. Otherwise, keep it moving. Love the R1T. So a month has passed. This past June, Rivian all of a sudden starts reaching out. I've done a video about this. If you haven't checked it out, go please check it out. But yeah, June comes in. They started reaching out again. There's brand new deals. So this time the deals are like the, if you trade in an electric vehicle, you get discounts. And then if you purchase a large pack with the performance upgrade, there's like an additional deal. So they're reaching out, and I said, look, the biggest issue I have right now is the negative equity. I'm not gonna roll that into a new lease. So if you could figure that out for me, then we could talk. Otherwise, I'm not interested. June 25, 2025, I get an email. All of a sudden, my trade-in value for the R1T is $61,290. I get a message that says, look, we know you have referral credits, and so if you apply that to this new lease, we've pretty much taken care of, we have pretty much taken care of your negative equity. You're back to zero, and we have all these other incentives on top of that. Okay, so step one, they figured out a way to get rid of the negative equity. So now I'm interested. Now I'm curious. Now they got my attention. Okay, so what other incentives can you give me to improve this? Like right off the bat already, I was impressed by how they were able to, somehow remove that negative equity, even though I'm spending the 2,000 referral points. By the way, shout out to those 4 people that made it possible for me to get those points. Thank you very much. If you are considering buying a Rivian or Tesla, also consider using my referral code, which I have in the video description below. We went back and forth, and the actual configuration we ended up with is an R1S dual motor that's $83,900. Performance upgrade, $5,000. Glacier White, $1,750. Ocean Coast, $2,000. Sound+vision, $2,500. And basically the subtotal for this configuration is $95,150. So the additional deals and incentives that they offered to me are the following. Now, the deals and incentives appear in different areas of the contract, so it affects things a little different, but I'm just gonna share with you what they are, and then we'll try to go into detail. later on and show you exactly where they appear on the contract. So $3,000 off for trading in an EV, which is the R1T. The $2,500 off was to offset the cost of sound and vision. So essentially it makes it free. So this was a similar deal that was given to me last year with the R1T, where they offered to give me an option for free. So limestone, I think, was $1,750 as an add-on, as an optional paint color. So they removed that. Like there's a line entry where they subtracted the price by that much, so it offsets the cost. So the new subtotal is now $89,650. Because I'm leasing, they have a $5,000 incentive for large battery pack with performance upgrade. This upgrade cost $5,000, so it pretty much offsets it and it becomes free. There is also a $7,500 EV tax credit, and if you haven't heard, they have put into law that this is going to go away September. So it is really a good time. If you're after that tax credit, it's a good time to consider getting an EV before it goes away. And again, I do encourage you to use my referral for Tesla or Rivian if you don't mind, and if you don't have one already, and I appreciate that. So essentially, the total amount of discounts I got is $18,000. Now, whether or not you want to count that help with the trade-in, that's on top of that. So, yeah. So again, these discounts appear in different areas of the contract. So, for example, the difference of $2,146.87 is negative equity. It's still considered negative equity, even though I have the referral credits to offset that. The problem is, or not really the problem, well, I don't know how you want to look at it, but the referral credits do not apply towards the cost of the vehicle, like the delivery cost, like the sign-in, like delivery charges and stuff. I'll show you later. So it's still rolled in. The negative equity of like that $2,100 still rolled into the payments, but it's just with these additional credits, it just offsets it. So we'll get into that. So due at signing is $4,172.71. Of that, $3,171.84 were like taxes and fees and all that. So this is where my referral credits come in. So if you subtract that, my actual due at signing is $2,123.09. So that's where my referral credits went. It didn't go towards the purchase of the car. So they still rolled in the negative equity. All right, so I'm going to put up some screenshots. If you want to pause the video, do so if you want to take a closer look. But gross capital cost is $91,450. Capitalized cost reduction is $12,999.98. Adjusted capitalized cost is $80,596.89. I think this is where they took like my lease payments from. That's how they were able to calculate the lease payments. Residual value is $57,200.50. Depreciation amortized amounts $23,396.39. So I'm not like a lease expert or anything. I'm just sharing you the numbers. But if you do understand these numbers a lot better than I am, help me out in the comments below. But I did find a money factor calculator that people are sharing around the internet. I try to get as close to the numbers as possible. I have a link in the video description below, but basically it seems that my money factor is 0.00208 or 4.99% equivalent APR. So I think my sales tax is 7.75%. I Googled it I believe that's what it is. But the numbers I've put in is like residual value, the monthly payment. Now the vehicle price as adjusted capitalized costs, because somewhere in the contract it said that this is how we based your lease payments from. Okay, so monthly payment before taxes is $939.27. With tax, it's $1,021.46. Now, it is over $1,000 a month, but I did kind of play around with some numbers. If I did put $500 down, because remember I said I didn't want any down payment, but if I put down $500, it would bring my monthly payment below $1,000 to $988.97. That's with taxes and everything. If I put $1,000 down, it would go down to around $971. I didn't take any screenshots or anything. I thought I did, but I just can't seem to find it. So $971. So again, I could put the money down, it's fine, but I started calculating some things. So this is a 36-month lease. The price difference per month, if you multiply by, let's say, 36, it's about the same. Yeah, I would save a little bit of money, but then up front I would have to pay that amount. So what I ended up doing is not putting any money down for two reasons. Number one, it's really just about the same and I didn't want to put the money up front. And number two, what if Rivian comes back to me before the 3-year lease is up, like they did this time, and gave me a crazy deal? Maybe for a Gen 3 R1. Who knows? I don't know. So I figured whether I do this or not, I think at the end of the road, it's still gonna be very similar. Also, I have an R2 reservation, so I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do with that, because they may even give me a deal on that. Who knows? Who knows, right? So I'm just keeping the options open. This was not a surrender of lease, so no $495 disposition fee. They bought the car as a trade-in, so they're buying the car from me. Like they're paying Chase the remainder of the buyout, and then the remainder of that $2,100 or so will get rolled in to my new lease. So I could have returned it with all the accessories and everything, because again, it's not like a lease return or whatever, but I did remove it. I did a video on that. Okay, so insurance cost. I have Tesla insurance. If you're not aware, Tesla does insure non-Tesla vehicles. In California, you actually don't need to have a Tesla vehicle. You could use them to insure any other non-Tesla vehicle. At least the last time I spoke with them, that's what they told me. In California, not sure if that's the case in other states, but in other states, from what they told me, as long as you have one Tesla vehicle insured with them, they will insure your non-Tesla vehicles as well. So the previous rate that I was paying for the 3 cars, Model Y, Performance, R1T, and Cybertruck, so the Model Y is $187.65 a month, R1T is $152.52, and Cybertruck $340.51. Total is like $680.68. I have a 3% discount until my next renewal in September for switching underwriters or something with Tesla. I don't know. There's like, if you have Tesla insurance, they may have reached out to you to switch over from their previous underwriting company to the actual Tesla underwriting company. So the new rate, Model Y Performance, R1S, and Cybertruck, the Model Y Performance, $184.16, difference of minus $3.49. R1S, $168.07. It went up by $15.15. Cybertruck, $345.63. It went up $5.12. Total is $697.86. Again, minus 3% until my renewal period, which may change. The Cybertruck is a little high because They calculated me driving that thing 33,000 miles in 1 year based on the 3 months that I had it. Or was it the first 6 weeks? I can't remember, but they looked at my mileage and it's like, you're driving a lot more than normal, a lot more normal for me. So they had to raise my insurance rate. And I told them the first 3 months I had the truck, I had free supercharging, so I drove it everywhere. Now, we're not even gonna drive it that much because we don't have free supercharging anymore. And they're like, okay, well, don't worry. When you renew your insurance, it'll reflect that. And I'm like, wait, but I have to wait, so I'm paying that rate even though I'm not gonna, man, insurance, y'all. I'm telling you. So that's the cost of insuring the 3 vehicles. It went up a little bit, but what can you do? I'm gonna answer some questions that I think may come up. So here are the questions I think y'all are gonna ask. Why did you trade it in? Well, we have 2 trucks, Cybertruck and R1T. I mean, both are fine, very different trucks as I mentioned. Cybertruck ain't going anywhere. That's the boss's truck. That ain't going anywhere. So if anything, the R1T is where I can, you know, have options with. Opportunity came to trade in for the R1S, like what I've shared with you all. I've always thought the combination of R1S and Cybertruck is a great combination on our driveway. But if there was no deal, no harm, no foul, love the R1T. Just, I think I was lucky to get this deal, so I jumped on it. I got to keep a Rivian. I traded in a Rivian for another Rivian, so it's still a win-win. That's why I traded it in. What about the R2 reservation? I still have it. I might not get it anymore because I think I mentioned in other videos that someone ruined it for me, where it's like, dude, it doesn't have the air suspension. And I'm like, oh shoot, you're right. So I love the air suspension, love it in the Model X, love it in the Cybertruck, love it in the R1T, and now in the R1S. I don't have it in the Model Y, and I can feel the difference, although it is the performance with stiffer suspensions, but there is no adjusting it. So I hear the new Model Y has adaptive suspension, but they're not air suspension, they're coil still, so I haven't tried that. So maybe the R2 would be very similar. Who knows? Who knows? Time will tell, but I do have the R2 reservation still, and I'm just loving the R1S more and more. I mean, I miss the R1T, but I'm loving the R1S every day that I drive it. So why the R1S? Coming from minivans, I wanted 6+ seats. Like, I miss having those. I want my parents to come along with us on our road trips because they're getting old, and I don't want my dad like driving, you know, far distances if they want to join us, because we can't fit. Prior to the R1S and after, you know, letting go of the Model X, all our cars, all 3 cars were 5-seaters. So yeah, it's pretty much, that's it. It's my family and my father-in-law, and no one else can come along. So I miss having a larger vehicle in terms of seat capacity. Also, when my son has band competition, we sometimes tow, so hopefully I can continue to tow with this. But aside from that, we sometimes bring some of his bandmates with us. So the more people we can fit, the better to help the band go to these travel competitions and stuff. Off-road capability, just like the R1T. And finally, something different. Have the trucks, actually it's not even different because again, I came from minivans, we've had Model X, like I miss those types of vehicles. So why did you lease instead of buying? Well, the lease deals. Always crazy lease deals going on right now. So the lease will work out because it's a weekend vehicle, it's a road trip car. I won't be using it like every day. The Model Y Performance is my commuter. That's what I drive when I go into work. That's the one that has the high mileage. I'm close to 50,000 miles already. Abby has a Kia. That's a business car, so she uses that when she goes to work. Cybertruck should have been a lease, but I think we're gonna keep it longer than usual, like what we had intended for the Model X, where we're just gonna put a ton of miles on it. But it just kept breaking. But that's why we ended up going with a purchase on the Cybertruck. And at the time of purchasing, I bought it through my business and we can write it off. There's a $7,500 tax credit, but rather than getting it up front at the time of purchase that wasn't available, I can do it through the business and get the credit through there. I can do content with the R1S. So like and subscribe and use affiliate links. If you need to purchase anything from Amazon or any of the channel partners and stuff, that helps out the channel. But as long as you need a hookup, a discount, I got all that for you. You know, it's a partial write-off, and it's just something fun, something I can share ownership experience. I have the other two cars that I also share ownership experience. This is the only car payment we have. The Model Y is paid off, the Cybertruck's paid off, so depreciation is brutal. My goodness. So that's why we leased, we didn't buy. Why the color white? I started buying cars in silver. So my Honda Civic was silver, the Acura TL that followed that was silver. The first Prius was gray, and then after that, we started buying white cars. Toyota Sienna, the second and third Prius, Honda Odyssey, then we started getting into Tesla, and really the biggest reason why we got the white color in Tesla is because we've always had white cars prior to that. But they were also free at that time, the free color. And Abby likes to wrap her cars, so why pay for paint when you can put that towards a wrap or a PPF? Shout out to the homie Eric. He has had 3 Rivians. The first one was the R1S. That was the first R1S I've seen. He brought it at a Vegas 0 run. And then he had 2 R1Ts. First one didn't go too well. It was a white one. Its name was Pablo Escobar, and then he replaced it with a Gen 2 R1T, also in glacier white, which is called the Revenge of Pablo. So, and it's a nice truck. I love what he's doing to it. So turned me on to the white color. So shout out to him. Go follow him on X. So why Ocean Coast interior? Well, since getting EVs, we mostly went with the lighter color interior. I think the only one was the Model Y 7-seater was in black, because Abby didn't like the white interior. But both Model X's, we got cream interior. If the Cybertruck came in white interior, like white seats, not white panels or whatever like they give you in the Foundation series or the option for white, yeah, that's not a change of, that's not worth it for us. We would have gotten the white, the real white interior option if it existed for the Cybertruck. That's what we would have opted with. The only reason why the R1T was not a white interior, or Ocean Coast, excuse me, because Ocean Coast is not really white, but just a lighter color. Only reason why the R1T, I didn't opt for that is because I was only given the offset of options, one of them. So I ended up choosing limestone as the free option instead of the Ocean Coast, because I really don't like LA Silver. Sorry, LA Silver owners, it's just not my cup of tea. Even though the previous cars I've owned before were silver, I don't like it. I don't like it. That's just my opinion. So why the sound and vision package? At the time of looking for different configurations, the guide was only able to find the sound and vision that would make it in time for delivery before the end of Q2. So that was the only option that we can go with. Otherwise, I wouldn't really care for the dynamic roof. I love music. I love the Tesla sound system. Rivian is not as great. The R1T Gen 1 had an okay sound system, but it's still not as good as Tesla. So just imagine if I didn't get the premium audio in the Gen 2, what would that sound like? There's no subwoofer. So I had to get it. I had to get it. Why not the max battery pack or standard pack? Well, having experience with the R1T large pack, I think that's the sweet spot right there. It works out for our use case, so I'm not gonna go down to the standard pack because of just the use case. The road trips that we take, like I think I prefer the large pack. Why not the max? I'm not gonna pay the extra money for that. I don't need it. You know, fine, 400 plus miles or whatever. All of our Teslas have floated around 300 miles in range, between 300 and 350. Model Y has not done so well lately. It's below 300, but yeah, I'm used to that range on road trips, and I don't mind it at all. So why not 20-inch all-terrain tires and wheels? Well, it didn't fit the budget. Simple as that. I prefer to get the sound vision. I prefer the Ocean Coast interior color. I prefer the glacier white exterior color. Those are higher priority than getting the all-terrain wheels and tires. So that's why. That's really it. I lived with the 21-inch road wheels and tires with the R1T for 15 months. I've been to a good number of off-roading trips and was able to do them just fine. I mean, there was an occasion in Joshua Tree where the sidewall got damaged, but thankfully it wasn't enough to puncture. So I'm threading the needle a little bit with this. So, but I think this will work out just fine. I do have the option to look at aftermarket solutions, so I am looking into that. It just depends on whether or not it fits the budget. So hopefully I covered all this stuff. I know it's a lot, but I don't know. Let me know if I got a good deal. Let me know. I think I gotten a good deal. So, but let me know. Once again, thank you for those who have used my referral code. Man, I appreciate that. I just can't believe y'all using it. But again, please consider using my Tesla or Rivian referral codes if you do make a purchase, because not only will it give you some additional hookups, but it also helps me out as well. Also, if you want to support this channel financially, I do have a YouTube membership option. You could cancel at any time. It also helps the channel. But yeah, that's pretty much about it. Very excited to do more content on the R1S. Some of the videos are kind of out of order, but I'm releasing them as a certain way. So please be patient with me. Already taken an off-road trip to Big Bear with friends. Already did the commute video. So all that stuff is coming. I've scheduled a service appointment for post-delivery stuff. So that's gonna be a video. I'm trying to get it done before our road trip, because I mentioned we have a couple of road trips planned before the end of the month. So I gotta get this thing. The biggest issue on this right now is the level 3 charging. The cable gets stuck. I thought it was the cable where I charged, but it happened again. So more info on that at another video, but I just wanted to share that with you. So many things are happening, all in out of order of how I'm releasing this video, so I apologize. But yeah, that's the biggest concern right now. But yeah, we'll do a closer look video, and then we're gonna do a post-delivery service appointment video, and then more road trips, more fun. It's not always problems, guys and gals. It's not always problems. I have fun with EVs, never going back to gas unless I go back to a minivan or that Porsche GT3 or 4. That's the only way I'm going back to gas. That's the only way. So, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And I will see you on the next one.